can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interest. Perhaps it's fate that today is the 4th of July, and you will once again be fighting for our freedom. Not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation. We're fighting for our right to live, to exist. And should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
Woo! Yeah! Man, fired up to do this podcast.
If that speech didn't get you going, I don't know what does.
I just almost pounded my fist through the table.
You know, it's like it's one of the most inspirational speeches of any movie of all time.
We should just play the speech on a loop and just have that for 40 minutes instead of us talking.
I want to wish everybody around the world, not just Americans, not just us in the US of A happy Independence Day, because now we're free from the aliens, thanks to President Thomas J. Whitmore.
Happy Independence Day, France.
Welcome back to the Last Row podcast. This is episode 39. We're going to be talking about Independence Day today. If you're looking for us on the website, if you're looking for our website, it's thelastrowpodcast.com.
Well, we're not in the website.
If you
We're not physically in the website.
We're not, you might not
I
be.
won't be there. It's not Tron. But.
I'm there. Thelastrowpodcast.com, on Twitter at TheLastRowPod, Facebook, Google+, Instagram, Google Play Music. Subscribe there. And most importantly, iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review. Thank you to everybody that's left us one so far. Happy to be here talking about one of the greatest movies of all time, Badway.
You're not a dad yet. I had to throw a dad joke in.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm practicing my dad jokes. I wasn't sure we'd be here this week.
Drew's still not a father.
I wasn't sure.
Thought he was going to be a father by now.
I wasn't sure we'd be here this week.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't be here next week. We'll see.
Well, we'll be here for weeks to come because thankfully Will Smith defeated the aliens.
Right.
Independence Day. What we're doing with this episode is we're going to talk mainly about the old Independence Day, ID4 from 1996. But we also just recently watched the new one, ID4 Resurgence. So the second half, and we'll tell you when we're getting all spoilery on you there. We're going to talk about the second one as well, the back half, maybe the last 20 minutes or so. But we're really going to talk about the world of everybody's seen this movie a million times. So we're going to talk about the characters, about some of their motivations, and maybe some of the extracurriculars that you hadn't thought of while watching this movie.
It is required viewing in my household on Independence Day.
Every Independence Day, on or around.
Every year since 1997.
You got a cookout going, just have it on in a loop in the background.
I'm surprised, you know how they do A Christmas Story on like TNT?
Yeah.
Does any channel put this on 24/7? See,
they don't because like usually it's hard to find and you have to like buy it. You have to buy the rental, right?
See, I know it's on HBO Go right now, and that's how I rewatched it.
Watch them delete it on July 3rd.
If they do that, we need to take the fight to them because
it's like you can't find it on Netflix. You usually have to like rent it from Google or whatever, or Amazon, whatever. But anyways, so Independence Day. If you haven't seen this movie, you live under a rock, whatever. Made in 1996, Metacritic 59%, IMDb 6.9%. I thought it would be higher. In the epic adventure film Independence Day, strange phenomena surface around the globe. The skies ignite. Terror races through the world's major cities. As these extraordinary events unfold, it becomes increasingly clear that a force of incredible magnitude has arrived. Its mission, total annihilation over the 4th of July weekend. Why pick the 4th of July? Do you think it was like tactical?
I don't know if they showed up over like, I think the first day was July 2nd.
Yeah,
it was over
like
3 days.
4th of July weekend, you know?
Because Hitler was home on military leave to celebrate the 4th of July.
It's like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the Monday off or whatever. I think it was, do you think they know American history?
And they scouted,
it was tactical,
man.
But it wasn't just America, it was the world, but forget it.
But no, because America in this movie is the center of the universe.
Yeah, Team America.
Team America.
Yeah. So, the last hope to stop destruction is an unlucky group of people united by fate and unimaginable circumstances.
Let me say something about the synopsis. It's very ambiguous. It's not very specific in any way, and I don't remember the hype that was the hype of this movie? Did it have hype at the time? I was in
I'm sure it
sixth
did.
grade or something.
Yeah, it did.
I can't remember. I just remember the toys.
It definitely did.
I remember the
It was
toys
huge.
with the floppy disk, the ID4 floppy disk that you could put in your computer and download a file.
Oh, those movie tie-in toys, you gotta love them.
But I don't remember the hype that this had. I mean, I think it was a big summer
No,
blockbuster.
it had major hype, and then it came out on the 4th of July. It was this huge deal. I saw it in Ocean City when I was on vacation with my cousin. It was a great movie then. Rewatched it this past weekend. Great movie still. You could argue if it's a good movie, but it's still it's so fun to watch that it's, as far as disaster movies goes, this is like the cream of the crop for me.
And I also feel that the effects of it hold up very well.
Well, there's a couple scenes like when the dogs run in and the dogs leaping, the fire's coming through.
I mean, that's just ridiculous in
Kinda
general,
weak.
but
I like the blue like light of the alien shots. Like that's pretty cool.
I mean, we can compare them to other aliens, and I think we're going to do that, but I just thought the overall weightiness of it, just ships around the world over every major city. It had a lot of weight to it. It was a very heavy movie for a blockbuster.
Like the shadowy figures coming through, like they really slow played the aliens.
Yes.
It took like 45 minutes or so for the aliens to actually like show up.
Yeah. I think they did well with that. Like, so let's jump into the topic, right? With the aliens, like, where did they come from? Do we know anything about them at the beginning of the movie? What do you know about them, right?
Well,
like
nothing. And that's part of like that's part of the weight of the movie is like you don't just like the characters like what's going on here? Where are these? What do they want? Are they peaceful? What's going on?
I thought the humans were a little ballsy to think that they were just going to fly a ship up there and flash a few lights at them.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, a welcome wagon, get up there."
Well, that's our nature, you know.
I know,
is to
right?
like try to welcome them. We don't want to start a war that maybe they didn't want to start.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was pretty epic.
But once you shoot that guy down, it's game on.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But the humans, I mean, humans are always ballsy in all these kinds of movies. The aliens in this, they were very ominous. They didn't show them until like you said, like halfway through the movie.
Yeah,
You didn't
pretty
see
much.
him until Hiller shot the one plane down, right? That was about it, I think.
Yeah, as far as seeing an actual like bodied alien aside from the ships, right? Yeah.
Where do they rank in terms of other aliens in other movies? So think about like some of the other movies, and you may have seen them. Maybe a movie where you didn't see the alien. Like what movies do you recall that these things kind of either go toe to toe with, or they beat them out?
Alien invasion type movies. So
Yeah, like, what are your
we're looking
favorites?
at Signs is one where it's kind of lame. They're afraid of water, but it turns out
It's pretty
Mel
weak.
Gibson beats them. Right? Of course he beats them.
Pretty weak.
Yeah. They show it. They barely show it at the end, and it's like it's just some dude in a gray suit. It's whatever. Not very menacing, right? War of the Worlds, very menacing.
With Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah,
Not
I don't
the
know if they
1950 one.
they don't really show the aliens. They have a lot of devices and pods, stuff like that. But it's like they're just sautéing humans. There's blood everywhere.
Pretty
Pretty
crazy.
scary, pretty nasty. But a lot of that movie is like from the perspective of Tom Cruise and his family, where they're scared and they're on the run, kind of, and his daughter's very annoying in it.
Mars Attacks. I mean, they came up and they tried to show up peacefully, right?
Yeah.
And another movie that had great toys. You know,
Oh, yeah.
we was talking about the toys on this show,
Yeah.
but they had some pretty cool toys.
Yeah.
But they came up and they looked peaceful, right? Even though
Yeah.
they looked menacing as
Yeah.
hell. They had, like,
President
brains.
Jack Nicholson, they rolled out the red carpet literally for the alien.
David Duchovny.
Yeah. So they were like communicating with him. I don't know if it was they like invent some kind of translation device.
Yeah.
And they thought the alien was saying we come in peace, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. And they ended up shooting everybody.
What about like Alien or and I maybe this is the conversation, right? So it was the alien from Alien, right? Ridley Scott
Yeah.
Alien wasn't invading the Earth.
Yeah.
But what about like the intelligence of these aliens versus that alien? Like I look at that one more as like a bruiser, something that's
Yeah.
just wants to kill you.
Right.
Like these guys are trying to take over your planet and steal your
Right.
basically your resources.
Yeah, I wouldn't go Alien or Predator just because that's like Alien kind of happens in space and Predator it's only attacking Arnold and
Yeah.
Danny Glover. So
And it's just trying to like
Yeah.
fight somebody like
Yeah.
most dangerous game type
Right.
stuff.
and then of course like you got to go Space Jam, right?
I mean, they're just trying to play
It's
basketball.
trying to challenge
you
you
know
to
what
a game of basketball for the world, right?
I mean? See, that's a little bit more like honorable because at least it's a game that you got a chance at it. I know they kind of cheated, right? They stole.
But they let Michael Jordan play though. That's good sportsmanship.
Right,
They
right.
could have said no, he's not a dude. He's not allowed to play.
That's like, oh, instead of a war, let's have a chess match, right?
Yeah.
Like they played a game. Like it's a gentlemanly.
Yeah.
It was a gentlemanly fight.
It's like fighting, but it's like fighting Satan though. It's like Satan will challenge, like to go to hell. It's like or not. You challenge it for your soul, but he rigs the game.
Yeah.
They basically rigged the game.
They did, but they still had a chance, right? And Michael Jordan.
They would have lost had not been for Bill Murray though. So
That's
it's up
true.
his sleeve.
This is true. And
So-
now upcoming with LeBron.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure. So getting back to it, I still think I'm gonna go War of the Worlds aliens were more menacing than this. I don't know. You might call me crazy on this, but it's a simple fact that these deaths in these movies are like instantaneous, right? The civilians are getting attacked with like laser beams and rockets or what like brimstone and fire, right? Whereas War of the Worlds, they were being like harvested. They were being personally scooped up into these little like pouches
That's
and like
true.
sautéed, you know?
But
So
see,
that's more scary to me.
it is more scary, but I'm gonna go with these aliens
Yeah.
only because they flew a ship over basically the most important landmark
Yeah.
of the major city, and like people like Alex from Saved by the Bell, the college years,
Yep.
is up there just with her sign like "Woo,
Welcome,
we-
aliens."
Yeah, welcome. We come in peace, and she's up there trying to welcome these aliens, and it's like the blue thing opens up. And it just destroys everything.
Looks beautiful. It's almost like a big FU to the world, like to
Right.
the city. Like, oh yeah, you like this building? Bam, gone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the White House looks cool. Bam, we got
Yeah.
that too.
This blue light, you think it looks
Yeah.
pretty? Oh yeah, it's your destruction.
So the aliens had to study like populations, or like they knew that New York City, the White House is a big deal. So they had to have like a map or something, or a history book or something.
that's my next question to
Yeah.
you, right? So we find out later in the movie. We're just going to skip all over the place in this. Like you said, if you haven't seen this,
you know the
you probably
plot.
aren't listening.
Yeah.
But we found out that, back in the 1950s, one of these spacecrafts crashed. It was in Roswell, New Mexico. And, my question to you is, were they visiting the Earth
Yeah.
to scope it out?
Uh-huh.
What were they doing? Were they probing people like Randy Quaid
Yeah.
sexually
Sure.
to find out our weaknesses?
Yeah, maybe they come down there, steal a globe or something, try to figure out what's going on. Maybe it got a little too close one time and it got shot down or it crashed. But yeah, I think maybe there was a scout team. All of them made it out except for the one, which they happened to be recovered by Dr. Oken and such.
Dr. Oken,
Yeah.
the greatest character of all time. We find out they have some type of CD drive or something at some point in the
Well, it was a
movie,
floppy
USB
disk, yeah.
port,
Yeah.
zip drive, whatever. They got to get a computer virus up. But let's talk a little bit about their technology.
In a land party.
They've got like lasers. They've got clearly like super advanced spaceships. And they've got
force
these
field technology.
Yeah, and they've got these biosuits
Yeah.
that are basically like mech suits that cover them.
Love the biosuits.
Great twist on the alien piece.
Yeah. So it's like the suit looks almost like vulnerable itself. It's not
Right.
like a mecha suit in a way. I like that the suit itself also looks like a more menacing version of the alien.
Yes.
The aliens are kind of cute, really, like the real ones.
Yeah, they kind of are.
Yeah.
They look like little old men.
They got like little, like, glassy eyes. They look kind of cute.
I like the look of the alien. Like if you compare it to aliens in other movies, I think
Yeah.
they did a pretty damn good job of making them look cool and making
Yeah.
them look scary as hell at the same time.
Well, it's funny. The exoskeleton or the shield of the alien kind of looks like almost a cross between Alien and Predator.
yes, it does.
We got the dreads in the back, and you got the, I don't know, like the sloped face in the front kind of deal. Got claws and such for aliens, but it's kind of like buff, like a Predator.
And it kind of flails all over the place.
Yeah.
And then the little alien inside looks kind of like a little green man, but he has like a sloped head and
Yeah, they're purple, I think.
it's kind of cool looking. And I like the glass eyes too. I think
Yeah.
from an overall look standpoint, these are some of the more badass looking aliens
Yeah.
in movies,
Yeah.
of the past, I would say like 20 to 30 years. But they're clearly a threat. And
So who are you going to call?
yeah, who you going to call
Who
to
you
fix
gonna call?
to fix the shit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got to get this shit fixed. I think you got to call one only David Jeff Goldblum.
Ruxin's dad.
Ruxin's dad. Yes.
Oh.
We're going to fix the world. No, I
Well,
mean,
I guess these aliens are showing up. We got to fix the world.
I mean, Jeff Goldblum is this like unexpected hero, the cable repairman, as his
Yeah.
dad would call him.
The cable repairman with an MIT degree.
He's working at a TV station, and he's a tree hugger, like environmental advocate.
Total hippie. Yeah.
You know, he's yelling at people putting plastic and recyclables in the trash.
Don't put the metal can in the paper slot, all right? Like, that's the kind of guy this guy is.
And one of my favorite jokes about that aspect of it was then, like, when he was drunk in the end, he was going on this whole drunken rant about how we got to pollute the atmosphere. We got to destroy the planet so they don't want it anymore.
They don't want it anymore.
Like, let's smoke up the air. Let's destroy the ozone so they don't want
Bottle of tequila in his hand.
No, I mean, so he's working at a TV station. He's got this estranged wife that works at the White House.
I don't like that term.
Estranged.
Estranged.
We've talked about that on this show before. Was he estranged or was she estranged? I don't know.
She estranged him, or he estranged himself from the situation.
Yeah, he's the estranger, and she's the estrangee. But clearly, he's not over her. Yeah. You know, he's still into her.
Still wear the ring.
The threat comes up. He finds out what's going on. He deciphers this signal. You know, let's talk a little bit about this guy, just in general, because don't want to do a plot by plot. How the hell does he decipher the signal? He's got like an iBook.
It was a Val Kilmer Batman Forever situation a little bit, right?
It was.
Yeah.
He figured out
chess piece. Yeah. It's a signal.
Pawn. Chess pawn.
Yeah.
Enigma. Edward Nigma.
So what did he do? Was it some kind of like it was kind of a Morse code-ish?
Yeah, he used some computer program to like basically look for the hidden message in this electronic signal that SETI picked up.
Yeah.
They thought, oh, they're contacting us. It's the aliens. They're here. They're phoning home.
Yeah.
And it was basically this coordinated countdown to basically blowing the crap up.
I find it interesting that they like also would use like some kind of counting system, the aliens. Now maybe that's our primitive way to like interpret what they were using, but like for them to attack at 0, it's like, do you think aliens use time the same way that we use time?
I mean, that's a very good philosophical question, and
I don't know if you have the answer. Maybe it's rhetorical. I'm not putting you on the spot here.
No, I think it's a good thing to debate. I mean, I don't think I could answer it because I'd have to like get abducted.
You're not Jeff Goldblum.
That's what I mean. Like, no, but clearly he's a smart dude.
Yeah,
but he just happens to work at this TV station. I don't know what he's doing there. He seems like he kind of like settled for his job or something. And his dad, him and him don't really have a good relationship. His wife and him broke up. He thought she was having an affair with the president, which she may or may not have had. He punched the president at one point, right? We find out later in the movie.
That's a great thing to have on your docket. It's like, oh, by the way, I punched the president one time.
But it said it was before he was the president.
Before he was president, yeah.
No, but like I saw some article recently, which I just, I have watched this every year. But you do forget between the times that you watch the way he looked, because I watched Jurassic Park recently too, the first one. It was like 94, I think it was. And they talked about like how Jeff Goldblum was like so hyper-sexualized in this movie. And he had like the choker necklace, he had like the chest hair coming out, the shirt was open.
The shirt was open, the wife beater showing, and it's like, he definitely worked on his pecs for this movie.
Yes.
You could tell.
Like he was like the sex symbol, you know what I mean?
He's pecked out.
And without getting weird, I would say that he almost has, like, how people get mad, like people, sometimes they say, oh, certain people age better than others.
Yeah.
He almost looks like more cool now than he did back then.
He's got a good style. He does.
He's got the hair,
gotta admit.
the glasses, the salt and pepper hair.
Gotta give it to him, right?
He clearly looks like a cool guy. Yeah. Time has been kind to him.
Yeah, he looks like a big geek at Jurassic Park, really.
Yes, he does. Even though he's supposed to be cooler in that.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be a big geek at Independence Day, and he's like this buffed out dude, right?
Yeah. But I thought he was a cool character, and him and his dad had this like weird relationship. His dad was like the comic relief for that relationship.
Oh, yeah.
They tag along, wind up actually hanging out on Air Force One.
Some would say he's a little stereotypical.
Yes,
and you could argue that, but I think it's funny. I think it's a good.
It was a good way. So as we continue to introduce some of the characters, let's jump to the guy who he punched in the face, President Thomas J. Whitmore. Now, after you heard that just incredibly inspirational speech, how do you feel about this guy?
Well, that's the thing, because we got to go back in time, because that's the after, right? Everybody loves that Whitmore. But what about President Whitmore pre-ID4 attack, right?
Democratic or Republican candidate?
Yeah, we're not sure which side he lives on. There were hints, like not just hints, there were obvious clues that his presidency wasn't going so well, was it, Drew?
Yeah. No, and the other key was Vivica Fox says at one point when he meets his wife, I voted for the other guy.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
So I don't know how popular of a candidate he was.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, the news was kind of going off about how his policies were, stupid. He looked like an idiot. And then his speech advisor or the speechwriter or chief of staff, I'm not sure what her role was.
Yeah.
But she was clearly a close advisor to him.
Yes.
David's wife.
Yes.
Goldblum's wife. was giving him advice and said that basically what he was doing was dumb and it wasn't working.
Yeah, you got to go back to what worked.
What do you think he did? Like, why was he not popular?
It seems like he was hesitant to make decisions. That was kind of like his thing, right? And maybe that's what was rubbing people the wrong way. But here's what I want to go back to the timeline of. So he was a fighter pilot in the Gulf War, right? The Gulf War was in the 90s, 1991.
Yeah.
So this year is 1996. So 5 years removed from him in the cockpit of a plane, he's the president. Well, like, how did he get from point A to point B in just a 5-year span?
And there's clearly an age limit on the president, right? You have to be above a certain age to be elected. So he was either an older fighter pilot, which could be possible,
right?
Or
I don't know though.
He's just I don't know.
If you know, call let us know. Tweet us, hit us up. Are you flying fighter planes at 30, 31, 32 years old? Because he has to at least be 36 or 38. Or is it 42?
See, this is where we show how dumb we are because I should know this.
Actually, what's the youngest a president can be? I think it's like between the ages of 36 and 42. It's 35 maybe.
For our Independence Day episode, we don't clearly know.
Well, I don't know who researches that. Like, we're not in high school anymore, right? I learned that shit like 20 years ago, all right?
I know.
So
we're bad Americans here.
Back when this movie came out, I learned that shit in middle school. So
no, you're right. I mean,
so he's got to be. We'll say he has to be at least 35, which I think that's the answer. 35. So
yes.
Is he in the cockpit of that plane at 30, or isn't that like your military career is kind of over by then?
I mean, I guess if you're really skilled and if you're really the best, they might say, "Hey, we need this guy. We got to get him."
Yeah, but you would be like upgraded to general or something, or you'd be tactical. You wouldn't be out there in the shit.
Maybe he didn't earn it.
Maybe
he
didn't earn it.
Maybe
but he had to have earned it because he became president.
Maybe he did so. I don't know what he did.
Yeah.
But he clearly did something to get elected. Or maybe he wasn't. Like, I don't know what his platform was.
I don't know, man. He must have been wild. It was probably a Trump situation for him to get as far as he got.
Like, maybe it was just he said some cool stuff and he got elected. Like, who was the president before him? Was he unpopular and he just got elected?
Who did he beat?
I mean, clearly this guy, you talk about good, like, peaceful presidents and then good wartime presidents, like certain guys are like General, like Eisenhower and all this stuff. Like, these guys had what it took.
And people, I've talked to older people who were like totally for that. I believe that the president should have been in the military and this and that. And a lot of them were in the past up until more recent years.
Because they got the leadership, right?
Exactly. But I'll tell you exactly how this guy got elected. And I'm just thinking of it now as we go. He's such a nice guy, right?
Right.
He's got everything going for him. He's a military man.
Good family man.
Stands up for what's right. He probably said all the right things, and bam, he's in the White House.
Do you think that he was having an affair with Jeff Goldblum's wife?
Yes.
So you think even though they denied it,
their chemistry is a little too good, and the first lady's off doing who knows what,
So it was a little bit more like he who denied it supplied it.
I trust Jeff Goldblum's instincts here, his character in this movie.
If he can decipher an alien signal, using a MacBook,
exactly,
with a zip drive,
he could.
Clearly, he can find out whether he works at the cable company. Was he tapping her phone line?
Hey, there you go. He can decipher sexual tension if he can decipher alien codes. He can do that.
It might be an alien code to him,
So I totally believe it, which is neither here nor there towards the plot, but I think it further justifies Goldblum's character, which I believe to be true.
I believe that they were also having an affair. Now, it doesn't matter to me.
No, let me rephrase this. They're not having an affair. They had sex one time.
Yeah, like it was kind of like a heat of the moment
one time. They were in the Oval Office going over a speech, and things happened.
But was it before he got elected or during the presidency? Like maybe
it was during his campaign.
Yeah. What if they didn't have the affair, or maybe what if they didn't have the affair then when they were accused, but they said,
no.
Well, we were accused. We might as well just go for it anyway.
He was president-elect. It was during the campaign.
That's
what it was.
So speaking of him as a president, where does he rank in terms of movie presidents?
Ooh.
Like, I mean, we heard the speech, right? We talked about the speech a lot. It's clearly one of the most famous movie speeches of all time.
Oh, yeah.
You've got other movie presidents. You could think of some. I mean, I can think of a couple off the top of my head. Like, where does he rank against these guys?
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, the speech is like the greatest movie speech of all time, up there with Van Damme and Street Fighter. But
it is up there with that.
But I don't think you could beat it. But speech aside, I mean, a speech does not make a president, right? So he's not the greatest president in movie history.
He was a great leader, though. Yeah. Leader of men.
So we got Morgan Freeman, deep impact, another disaster situation. What are you going to do? And he also gives a great speech. It's kind of like What's going on? What do you care about what I did? It's too late. Doesn't matter. World's over. That kind of thing.
Do you want to kick me off this podcast if I tell you I've never seen Deep Impact?
No, that's fine because it's not that great a movie. It's okay.
I feel like Armageddon
okay.
was. You know when the rule of twos.
Yeah.
I chose Armageddon.
Yeah, I saw Armageddon too. Yeah.
I chose Armageddon over Deep Impact.
Who was the president of Armageddon? Was that a major character?
Wasn't it Billy Bob or something?
No, it was the president.
I can't remember.
I don't know if the president was a major
long.
character in Armageddon or not.
No, you know what? It was probably William Devane because he's the president and everything.
Yeah, sure.
I can't remember. This is like blasphemy. Like this is how bad we are. We don't know how old the president needs to be. I don't know who the president was in Armageddon. We're gonna get kicked off my own show here.
If we're talking about president disasters, obviously the crowd favorite it'd probably be Harrison Ford in Air Force One.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't necessarily a disaster movie. It was a disaster that the terrorists were on the plane.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie. I can't remember if he says, "Get off my effing plane" or "Get off my goddamn plane" or what it is. He said something tough like that.
But it was
awesome.
awesome.
The guy off his plane.
And the fact that he was just basically a badass fighting. And Harrison Ford is pretty good.
Yeah.
I still think, I don't think he was a better, actually, I don't think Bill Pullman was a better president, Lone Star. I think Harrison Ford was probably a better president.
Yeah.
But I think Lone Star's speech was the best.
Yeah.
What about David Palmer from 24?
See, he's not in the movie, but you got to count him. He might very well be our best president in entertainment history,
like
right?
television history.
Yeah.
I mean, what about Jack Nicholson? We talked about Mars Attacks a little bit. He wasn't really. He wasn't really a huge.
He was
role.
he acted like Jack Nicholson a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah.
The president was like, what if Jack Nicholson was president? That's kind of what that character was. Yeah.
That's what it would be.
So I'm gonna go poor there. So I always go back to David Palmer was the greatest president who ever lived because he's the only man who listened to Jack Bauer, who had a point of authority.
Yeah, and I mean,
no one else listened.
He did it from the beginning, right? I mean, he was like, you say, hey, I was here with you in the beginning.
Yeah,
he was there with him in the beginning.
Yeah. And if he disagreed with something Jack Bauer had to do, like he had like a damn good reason for it. It wasn't just, oh, you're wild, Jack, get away from here.
He believed in the Dobson override device. Yes. He believed in the FB sub circuit board.
Yeah.
He knew about the virus.
Ugh.
All these viruses that were going along. He knew about all this stuff. And he knew about Alan Milliken.
But even David Palmer had some skeletons in his closet.
He did, you know? I mean, Alan Milliken was his biggest supporter.
He was.
That's for our 24 friends. But he winds up flying a jet. I mean, that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
I'm going to change my mind. I was going to say Harrison Ford was better president. I'm going to say this dude. He stepped up to the plate, man. He got in the F-16.
He stepped to the plate and actually did something in a time of crisis, which is like very commendable. Very unrealistic, but very commendable. But I still think you can't, like, as far as the president goes, like, he showed great leadership there. But I don't know, maybe basically I'd have to see, like,
his policies after.
Yeah, even before, I'd have to see why people were crapping on him beforehand.
Yeah. Got to go to the C-SPAN archives.
Even during the, I'm gonna argue with you here. Even before the aliens actually struck, but they were looming. Like, he told everyone to stay in your homes. That's where you need to be. Nobody panic. And everybody stayed in their homes and they died.
But in his defense,
such a bad idea.
Would he want to cause mass panic? And like clearly the highway system could not support the traffic. And this is back in 96, like before the population exploded.
And he released the nuke.
Yeah, okay,
He released the nuke.
I know we're going to talk a little bit about this guy, but I think maybe we should just talk about him now.
Yeah.
The freaking Secretary of Defense, the guy who had the Mercedes that Greg Fokker drove back in Meet the Fockers. Let's not make it a nightmare.
Yeah,
that guy was a nightmare.
It's like I want to say his name is it's not Ed Harris.
No,
but it looks like Ed Harris.
It's not Ed Harris.
It's the other guy.
I can't remember his name. R.I.P. The guy actually passed away in 2014. The actor, good actor. He plays kind of the same character in all these movies. That dude wanted to fire a nuke from the day he was a baby.
Oh yeah, he loved it.
He was like, he couldn't wait to get the nukes out, man. He's like, oh man, there's an alien. We gotta
let's fire all the nukes. But sir, it's like we're gonna if we nuke the aliens, there's going to be a nuclear fallout in the city for years to come. It's going to be.
I blame that guy.
Like Chernobyl.
I blame that guy for why the president maybe was a little bit on the other side. He was trying to compensate for this guy being an idiot.
He knew that Whitmore was being a bit of a bitch, right? Like Whitmore seemed like he's pussyfooting around a lot of his policies. This guy wanted to make sure that action was being taken.
But listen, the second that they tried to fire one missile at the damn thing, and they clearly saw some type of deflector shield,
yeah,
they should have thought, like, you know what? maybe these guys got one up on us. They might have have a one up on us.
One of my favorite parts of the movie was like the first missile, like they show it on the radar and it hits and they all explode in celebration.
Talk about premature celebration.
That is like you score a touchdown in football, your team scores a touchdown, but then you don't see the flag.
You know what that's
you don't
like?
See the flag on the field.
I'm gonna go super controversial here.
Yeah.
That's like people champagning in baseball. You get to the you know what? All right, you make the playoffs, go ahead and champagne. I don't care. You win the first round. It's like, come on, man. You premature celebration.
It ain't over till it's over.
You didn't even, you made it one round further.
The ship was 15 miles wide all the way around. They shot one tiny little missile at it. They thought it was going to beat it.
And that's what I'm saying. And the big guys, the Dr. Okins of the world, they know, like, that ain't going to cut it, man.
Of course.
Like, these guys clearly have superior technology. You need to outsmart them. That's where you need Jeff Goldblum. He's got to get his brain in there.
Yeah.
He's got to understand what you got to do. And the Secretary of Defense is like, just nuke him, man. We're going to get him.
We got it. That's our best weapon.
You're not listening to me. And the president's trying to do his best job, damn it. He's trying to do his best job.
The other countries are laughing like, look at these Americans. They just nuked it. What are they doing?
And like in the beginning of the movie, what is it? Like somebody was like, President, maybe we need to go to DEF CON 3.
DEFCON 3.
And he's like, I don't know. We'll think about it. And then what does he say? He's like, oh, you heard him. Go to DEF CON 3.
Yeah. The president goes, maybe we should go to DEFCON 3. And then he goes, yeah, you heard the president. We're going to DEFCON 3. Send out the messages. It's like, hold on, he didn't say that.
That guy was so trigger happy.
He couldn't wait to be president. How many lines to get to the Secretary of Defense to be president?
We find out in other movies and maybe certain other ones here that some of these types of scenarios come up. He's part of the cabinet, right? So he would be higher in line than most.
Is
people.
he like third or is he fourth in line? Maybe
I can't remember. See, this is another thing we don't know. This
it's another history question that we're not prepared for.
I feel like as an American on Independence Day, I should know this.
Yeah, we have Google in our hands, but screw it.
Yeah, I mean we're doing a show here.
We'll just randomly say he's fifth in line.
Yeah, he's fifth in line.
So he's like kind of plotting, like, all right, so the president's not vice president, secretary of state, all right.
Yeah, maybe that's
chief of the house. Chief of the house is third, I think. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe that was his plan all along.
Yeah, it was like, how many people need to die before I can actually get hold of these nukes for myself?
Yeah. Like he's like, oh man, that pesky Speaker of the House, man. No, but I think this dude was definitely trigger happy. The president was trying to do his damn best. He was trying to do the best that he could, and this guy's in his ear. And maybe it's his fault for basically nominating this guy, unless that was one of his political mistakes. You know who wasn't trigger happy?
Yeah.
Or maybe he was. Captain Stephen Hiller.
Well, he's pretty cool under pressure.
One of the coolest dudes in any movie. Clearly an awesome fighter pilot.
Well, yeah.
Clearly one of the most skilled, basically, soldiers in this whole film.
Yeah, this was Will Smith pre-Wild Wild West.
It was right after Bad Boys?
I think after Bad Boys, before Wild Wild West, which he currently like renounced. Renounced?
Did he really?
Denounced?
I haven't heard
he
this.
denounced it.
So he didn't like it?
Well, he came out recently and said that, that was a mistake.
Listen, if you want to do that, you got to do that like a few years later.
Yeah.
You can't wait 20 years.
Don't be a tough guy and say after the fact.
20
everybody
years?
knew it was a bad movie. Just own it.
I mean, just own it.
Great song, though.
My question about Hiller, though, is, the movie opens up, he's basically the only guy that doesn't know aliens have landed on the Earth.
The last guy to know, right?
Sleeping in bed with Vivica Fox.
Not bad.
Pretty good couple there.
What's hotter than Vivica A. Fox? Stripper? Vivica
Probably.
A. Fox, right?
That's
who we got here.
Vivica Fox was really beautiful in this movie.
And there was a scene where she was working, if you know what I mean.
She was very beautiful in this movie. Yeah. She had like the nice hair. She just looked really good. I had a crush.
But the best looking she ever looked in this whole movie was in the morning.
Yeah, when she woke up.
When she woke up, she's obviously she has makeup all in the movie, but like that was the best she looked.
I'm not gonna lie. Back in '96, I had a crush on her. Man.
I would like to, I'd like to wake up to her every morning. It'd be great.
I had a big crush on her.
She could be a stripper. That's fine. I'll judge.
My question about that, of her line of profession.
Yeah.
The president's wife asked her, like, so what do you do? And she said, oh, I'm a dancer. She said, oh, ballet?
Ballet?
She said, like, no, I'm exotic.
Yeah.
But the question is, Will Smith, right? He seemed to have this wishy-washy feeling about her.
Yeah.
They seemed like they were good together.
I don't know, wishy-washy.
Yeah, because at one point, the guy says, he shows up the ring, and Harry Connick Jr. says to him, I thought you were going to break it off, man. And he's
break
like,
it off.
How could you break it off? They seem great together.
Yeah.
Did he know that she was a stripper beforehand, or did he date her and then find out after? And maybe that's why he was wishy-washy.
He met her in the strip club, Drew.
Like maybe on leave one day or something? Like, I don't know. I just...
How close is that strip club to that base, right?
It's probably pretty
close.
She didn't have to drive that far to get back.
No. Yeah, Yeah, but if he has the ring, he's not about to break it off. I feel like he was talking tough to his buddies.
Like to Harry Connick Jr.
Yeah.
He was just, I don't know. It was weird to me because he was like, I thought you were going to break it off, man.
By the way, super annoying character. We don't have to talk much about
I
Harry
liked him.
Connick. I thought he was very annoying.
I liked him.
I couldn't wait till he died. All right.
See, I liked him. I liked his voice. I thought he was funny. He was good comic relief.
Yeah, screw that guy.
No,
but
I mean,
anyways.
yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about Hiller as we go through the plot, but I mean, clearly the guy is awesome. Will Smith, a great role for him.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed to see that he wasn't coming back for the new one, which we'll talk about in, the second half of the episode, but I thought he was great in this movie.
Yeah.
I thought he was awesome.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, he kind of stayed in his lane. He was the star power of the movie, but he didn't do too much. He was just kind of like a strong leader, did what needed to be done, cracked some jokes, and basically kicked a lot of ass in the air with his fighter pilot
One of the
skills.
things that really worked with it was the fact that you had two separate kind of threads. You had Goldblum, and then you had Hiller on the other side.
Yep.
And then they kind of met at the end.
Yeah, that was seamlessly created. It was.
It was really written.
It was a great marriage there at the end where they both ended up in the ship together.
I think that's why the movie works so well, and they kind of have this relationship together. But I know we're going to talk about him in a little bit, so let's jump to some of the other characters. How about Randy Quaid's? What is his name? Russell Case?
Russell Case. There's a lot going on here with this character.
Tell me, just what do you think about this guy?
So, guy got abducted by aliens way back when. We don't know how long ago. Maybe they said it. I lost it. But
I think it was like 10 years ago, they said.
Nobody believes him, right?
Did you believe him?
No, I didn't believe him. I still not really sure it happened.
I mean, they didn't have a flashback scene. I feel like it could have done well with it.
So he's got a grudge against the aliens, obviously, and that manifests itself when he finally gets his redemption story. But he's getting picked on by other dudes. How would you like that scene of the diner?
Total Seabass situation, from Dumb.
Yeah.
So, total Seabass situation.
So he turns into the town drunk, which is a bad look for him because his job is to crop dust.
I can't hear crop dust and not think of the non-meaning of crop dust.
Well, I'm a professional crop duster myself, and I don't fly no plane if you get adrift. Right?
I mean, I feel like I can't hear that and not think of the other way. Like he is literally a professional crop duster. Yeah. He gets paid to crop dust.
So it's kind of a problem if you're a drunk and a pilot. So let me ask you this. Can you successfully do that job while drunk?
I think hell no.
You would think not, but maybe it's like muscle memory. See, obviously it's very dangerous to drink and drive, and we don't condone that because there's a lot of drivers on the road. People are walking back and forth across the street day or night. But when you're in that plane, you're flying low. There's no traffic over there.
Yeah, but what if you hit a house or something?
You're not going to hit a house. Maybe you will hit a house.
I mean, he almost hit that guy's house.
He did almost hit that guy's house. It's a little less harmless is what I'm saying.
I don't know, man. I guess there's nobody else in the plane.
I'm not trying to be a drug flyer apologist, and no pilot flying a 757 should be drinking on the job.
What's that movie with Denzel Washington? What is it called? Flight? And he's like a drunk pilot?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, this dude clearly has a problem, and I don't know if he was a drunk before he was abducted or after he was abducted.
I don't think so. I think the aliens made him, or the minute he thought he got abducted, which he didn't. He became a drunk.
So you're saying that it's easier to fly a plane drunk? Like you could do that? You're saying? So you think he could fly? Like he cropped us at the wrong field?
Well, yeah. He doesn't know where he's at, but he knows he's in a plane.
So you're like, he could get in the air, but that's good enough.
Internally, he knows where he is, just not externally.
How does he land though? Like
that's the tough part. That's
I was in a plane, so a friend of mine took me up in a Cessna. It was like a 2-seater, and like one of the only people I would trust my life with, that would fly me in this thing. And coming down is like, I knew he had it handled. I'm not gonna lie, I was like a little nervous. You know what I mean?
We should have prepared by asking him, hey, man, if you had a couple drinks in you, do you think you could do this?
I'm pretty sure that it is literally illegal to even have a sip of alcohol.
Well, of course it is. I'm not saying it should be done, but I mean, he's in New Mexico or wherever the hell they are, Arizona. So there's nobody out there.
Yeah, because he was out. It was Nevada, I guess, because they were near Area 51.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I like the character. Thought it was kind of a cool twist. I thought it was funny how his friends were basically like calling him out on TV once the stuff started going down. It's like, oh yeah, like we knew him. They weren't his friend at all. Yeah. And they basically pretended to be his friend just to embarrass him on TV to say that the aliens did sexual experiments on him.
All right. So let me ask you this now. This phenomenon of the alien probe and the sexual molestation of humans by aliens, that's like a folklore thing. Do you have any belief in that?
Listen, I don't know if I want to believe it or not believe it because I don't want it to like happen to me.
Why would they do it? Like,
I don't know.
what do they gain from that?
From what I
Up the butthole.
From what they show on TV, it's not so much the anal probe. I think the anal probe is the South Park joke.
Yeah.
But they're really like they do these experiments to see about how humans reproduce because they're studying
Yeah.
anatomy.
So they'd go up the dill hole, right?
I get whatever some hole. I don't know what it is, but they're
you
doing
think they
something.
would rather, you know.
That's what I mean, and it's like it's just a weird thing. What's that movie with what's her name from Resident Evil?
Mila Jovovich?
Yeah,
Fourth Kind?
I never saw that, but you know, it's up there kind of with possession movies. Like
Dude,
there's a section of movies that I just don't really want to watch.
That movie was like kind of lame, but I stuck with it. The last scene where she's like possessed and they have like video of it, that was a freaky ass scene.
I can't do it, man.
That was rough.
I can't do it. See, I can watch any type of gory movie. I can watch any type of like slasher.
Yeah.
Talk about alien possession and like spiritual stuff. That is not for me.
I'll tell you what, a 90s movie, Fire in the Sky.
Never saw it.
Dude, there's an abduction scene where they get the guy in. It's like a dream sequence. It's almost, I think it's a flashback. I can't remember. But like they're like stuffing tubes down his throat. It's like very graphic.
See, I
It's
can't
very
handle that.
disturbing.
I
Very
told you about that
disturbing.
movie when I was a kid. I saw about
Yeah.
them basically resurrecting a caveman from ice. That freaked the hell out of me, and I can't watch the alien abduction.
So
man.
as alien as we could get is this movie Independence Day
Yeah,
for you.
I mean, I like the aliens. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about with him, just on the topic of him, is his family. He's got this basically RV that he lives in. Doesn't
Yeah.
seem to have a good relationship with his kids.
The mother's not around.
Doesn't seem like it. The daughter was the daughter from the Mrs. Doubtfire,
Yeah.
and who was trying to basically take advantage.
You know what? I've seen this movie probably, I don't know, a dozen times, maybe more in my life. I watched it this weekend and it hit me. That's Ronnie Lips Waterman.
Ronnie Lips Waterman.
Ronnie Lips Waterman,
AKA
baby.
Joey Donner.
If you remember from our 10 Things I Hate About You episode, or if you at all are a Boy Meets World fan, you know who Ronnie Lips Waterman is.
Your lips, they're in danger.
And in true Ronnie Lips Waterman fashion, trying to get with the guy's daughter because it's the end of the world. And come on, babe, we got to get laid.
What does he say to her? He said something like, "Don't you want to lose your virginity?
Yeah.
You might not be alive tomorrow." It's like, dude,
That's a great line.
scumbag move.
It's a great line.
Total scumbag.
He was right,
move.
by the way.
I mean,
the
the world-
world was pretty much over.
Yeah, but come on, it's scumbag move. Who the hell is this guy?
Oh,
right?
man.
His other kid's the guy from Donnie Darko,
Yeah.
and the other kid who
The
winds
buddy.
up becoming the sheriff from Cabin Fever. Hey man, the party man, like that guy.
So many random characters
Winston?
that no one who's listening
See,
knows about. Ronnie
nobody-
Lips Waterman and the party man from Cabin
I
Fever.
want to tell you so. I want to tell you something.
And the buddy from Donnie Darko.
I want to tell you something about me. One
Yeah.
thing I'm not proud about a lot of things.
Yeah.
One thing I am proud of is I have this like weird skill, and you can back me up on this.
Yeah.
Where I'll be like, "That's the guy from that thing,"
You could place that guy in that thing.
and it's like
We should make a game, that guy in that thing.
that's
We
a
should
good
make
game.
We
That guy in
call it
that thing.
Yeah.
But I always feel like I can pride myself on
You
being
do a good job.
the person who says, "Hey, that's that guy from that thing,"
So
and this is that guy, and I said it to you.
Let's put this to the test. Please, on Twitter, hit us up, The Last Row Pod, at The Last Row Pod. If you care at all about Ronnie Lips Waterman, the party guy from Cabin Fever, or the buddy from Donnie Darko, please let
us-
Drew know.
Let me know. Listen, I need.
I love it. I want to know if you guys love it.
I need somebody to back me up on that guy from that thing because I feel like I say it a lot, and people are like, "What are you talking about? You know, what is this guy talking about?"
Yeah. So there's only one more character left to discuss, and he is the character to most Independence Day fans, and that's Dr. Brackish Oaken, correct?
I never knew his first name until I saw the new.
Yeah,
like,
because they don't
the
really say
preview.
it until the second one.
It's just love Dr. Oaken.
Yeah.
It was
He's
Brent
he's
Spiner,
not a love doctor. You love
the
Dr.
love
Oaken.
doctor,
Yeah.
Dr. Oaken. Maybe he's doing some alien love.
I'm pretty sure he sexually molested some of the aliens.
Like, they say that they perform experiments on us.
Yeah.
Clearly, he was performing experiments on them.
You know how Winston told Egon, it's always the quiet ones.
Dr. Oaken.
It's always the quiet ones.
Dr. Oaken, one of my favorite characters of any movie. Just he's a great character. It's the fact that it's like the guy who plays Data from Star Trek.
Yeah.
It's he's got the long white hair. He says to the president, "They don't let us out much."
He's all frazzled.
You told me there was a prequel novel tie-in.
I was researching this, and I found out that there was like a prequel novel, and so basically he started working in the 70s, where he became privy to some Area 51 information, where it's basically he was sworn to secrecy against his will. That it was like a giant government cover-up.
Did they say how long he was working there?
Once he graduated, I think he started in like 1972.
And it was against his will, you said. So
against his will to keep the secret. Against his will.
So he was all about the experiments, but
yes.
he
once
didn't
he
want...
found out the information, like he was sworn to secrecy, and he hated that. But it was like he went along with it.
But so he works in Area 51, and let's just say this. You know, I may not know off the top of my head certain things about American politics, but what I can tell you is I know for sure I've watched National Geographic, and they have all these shows, Secrets of Area 51. Now, the president didn't even know that this place existed? Plausible deniability?
The Secretary of Defense knew.
That guy, man.
Yeah, holding secrets.
But clearly, there was a place, the general didn't know.
I feel like, this is like not to go off topic, but there's something about being president. You should have privileged information. I'm not saying you tell them this right away, but I feel like it's like a genie where the president should get 3 questions.
Like, oh, I like that.
All the secrets in the world, you get 3 questions. Who really shot Kennedy?
I like that.
They tell you. Well, did OJ really do it? They tell you, yes or no.
See.
Are there aliens? Yes.
Where's Jimmy Hoffa? Is he really?
Exactly. You should get 3 questions that the people above the president know. And I believe full-heartedly that there are people that are above the president in importance that we don't even know about.
So do you think more people would run for president if that was the choice? Like, it's like, you know what? Hey, that's a pretty good perk about being the president.
Secrets. And if you get reelected, 3 more secrets.
It's like you found a new lamp. Yeah. You got a new genie.
You get 3 more secrets.
See, I like that.
Yeah.
I like where you're going with that.
Yeah.
This dude clearly needed the 3 questions because he didn't know anything, Whitmore. No. So they wound up in Area 51. I mean, I know I'm going by plot here, and we said we wouldn't, but it's just part of the movie. Area 51, full of like dead alien bodies, full of the technology. They had the ship
going.
Dr. Oken is like basically the head scientist.
Yeah.
Love the character, man. Just love the character. And I feel like he wasn't in it enough. He winds up becoming the mouthpiece for the alien. Release me. He's like, oh, what do you want us to do? Die. No peace. All this crap.
No peace,
Great scene. Kind of had a good jump scene. Scary as hell.
Oh, this is a classic jump scene. For everyone who's seen that movie the first time in the glass. And in the second one, they do like an obvious callback to that. And everyone knows it's coming.
Right.
But I that was like an all-time jump scare for sure.
Do you think he deserved the treatment that the president gave him? They treated him like, I don't know, it's like maybe you had a bad day at the office and you come home to your family.
It was reactionary, yell at your kids type of thing, where he's like, Oken's all jacked up. He's excited. Shit's going on. The lights started flashing, he said, once these aliens came in from Area 51, from the old ship.
This dude's been in the basement for 30 years.
He's so pale, hasn't seen the sun in years, probably. Just jacked up on Mountain Dew. And Funyuns. He's got nothing else going for him.
Oh, he's got like the Sam's Club pack of Funyuns.
He's got Dorito breath, He's got it all.
He's got the orange stuff on his fingers.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I love Dr. Oken, and I feel like, they treated him a little poorly based on the way that he got excited. And now I get it. They just went through hell upstairs.
Yeah, he doesn't understand the scope of what's going on outside of the world.
Clearly one of the key people to defeating the aliens because he rebuilt a spaceship that they wind up flying in.
Yep.
He came up with basically the technology to understand what their technology was.
Worked with the Goldblum to break down the shield once he figured out the code.
Exactly. I mean, and that just kind of takes us to we can talk about the wrap up of the movie. I mean, clearly it's one of the more like, I guess, dramatic endings to a movie.
Oh yeah. Great ending.
Basically they decide because, Goldblum's dad said something about don't sit on the floor in a drunken stupor. You're going to catch cold.
Oh, be careful. You're going to catch cold.
And he tells him, oh, computer virus. He comes up with this idea of a computer virus that he loads onto some type of disk that he can upload into the alien computer.
A USB port. We don't know.
I mean, we talked about the Secretary of Defense. They tried to nuke him. That didn't do it. They realized we got to get the shields down. Fly into the ship, lower the mothership shields, and then the rest of them are going to fall.
Yeah.
What do you think about the plan? You think it's achievable?
So there's a couple questions that we have for sure. And not to nitpick the movie because we love the movie, right? But
I love this
There's
movie.
questions that need to be asked. Like, Will Smith is flying this alien spaceship into the mothership, right? Can you fly any old plane? If you know how to fly one plane, can you then fly all planes?
So you're saying like if I get in that Cessna I was talking about, then can I get in like a F-18 or like an F-16 or so whatever it is?
Is it fly one, fly them all? Which seemed to be the case in this movie, right?
I mean, the alien symbols were probably different.
Right,
Like, what if up was... it was, right? Yeah. Up was back, he had to switch the paper?
Well, what if up was left and down was up.
Do you
and
know
right
how
was
much
left?
how much that would screw your mind up?
If up was right.
You know what I would have to do? I'd have to like tilt myself sideways. Like you can't see me right now if you're listening, but I'm like tilted sideways, and I'd have to use the joystick that way, or whatever they call it, the yoke thing, whatever.
So, or is it like switching from auto transmission to manual? Is it that kind of difficulty, or is it a little bit of a learning curve? Will looks like Will got it right away. Will said, "Sir, I've seen these spacecrafts in action. I'm well aware of their capabilities. I can fly this." Like, just because you see it in action, I've seen people fly airplanes before. Doesn't mean I know how to.
You could do it.
Yeah.
Just get in there, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you watched him.
I've seen Bryce Harper hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Doesn't mean I know how to do
So
it.
you don't think you could just watch him and hit one? I bet you could.
Yeah, watch. Yeah, sure.
You know?
Seeing isn't doing,
You're going to see half-court shots?
Right.
You know, I bet you could
Yeah.
do that. You get it.
I've seen
you play
LeBron
basketball.
James dunk a basketball. I know how it's done.
That's what I mean. Like, you've
Yeah.
seen the way he jumps. You got
It's
all
easy.
you need to do is get a pair of LeBron shoes. Maybe
Exactly.
you could jump a little higher with the
Yeah.
shoes.
Just put me in the equipment and I'm good to go.
That's what I'm saying.
Come
you
on,
know,
Will.
run a punt back, get some shoulder pads on and a helmet.
Come on, Hiller. Come on.
No, I think that because he's such a good pilot, he could pick it up.
He was the most capable man for the job, I guess, which is the good argument.
Clearly, there wasn't anybody else outside of the Secretary of Defense that
Yeah.
could have flown that plane.
Right.
No, and I thought he was good enough. So they got to fly up. They do this stuff.
Put the Secretary of Defense that thing would go down.
He'd be like, "Oh, we got to nuke him."
Where's the weapons on this thing?
He'd be immediately looking for the guns.
He'd blow up the whole building.
He got
'Cause
fired at that point too,
yeah.
by the way.
He'd like find the one like hidden missile in the thing, and he'd blow the whole building up.
Another great scene where they were trying to fly this when Goldblum figures out how to turn the shields off.
Yeah.
He puts a soda can up and he has one of the Baldwin brothers try to shoot it off with the shield. Guy pulls out his 45. He's like, no, trust me, it'll be all right. The thing starts ricocheting in a room full of 100 people. I'm like, dude, look out.
It's like he was trying to prove a point, and he knew that was going to happen.
So they got to go up there and they fly this thing. In the meantime, they have one of the best space battles too, because you got the F-16s flying until they get the ship down, because they got to take this thing down. And they learned that they got to shoot the big laser. That's the way they take them down.
Yeah.
Randy Quaid, in a drunken stupor, decides to fly himself kamikaze style because nobody's got any more missiles left.
Yeah.
That's how you got to take this thing down.
Right.
He flies into it.
Because his missile mechanism locked.
I gotta
so
tell
he had
you,
to be a
man.
hero.
Scene got me a little dusty. I'm not going to lie.
Oh
like,
yeah, sure.
You know,
and it doesn't
was-
affect me anymore, but it used to.
I've seen this movie probably, I would say, at least 25 times. At least. That's like being generous.
Yeah.
Got me a little dusty. I'm like, man, he just loves his family. He's not drunk anymore. They gave him a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You know, he drank a whole
that-
handle of scotch.
That'll sober you right up. Just like it sobered Goldblum up when he was drunk on the floor and he found out to give the aliens a virus.
He drank a cup of
drank a
coffee.
cup of coffee and
Get a
you're
little
sober.
bit of,
Yeah.
take a cold
He
shower.
was falling down drunk. Give him one cup of coffee, and he invented a way to stop the aliens.
It's, I feel like it was the stroke of genius.
Yeah.
The combination of the caffeine. It's like if he had a Four Loko, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's maybe that's what he had off the scenes. But he comes and he kamikazes into the thing. Boom! Everybody's happy. They gave the president the speech that we heard in the beginning. Fire everybody up. Man, this is a great movie.
Oh yeah. Let me ask you a question. Would Randy Quaid's character have kamikazed himself into that plane had he not been drunk?
No.
Do you think he would have had the balls?
No, I don't think
Okay.
he would have. No, actually, I'm going to take that back. I think he would because he was so mad at the aliens. He knew that his kids loved him.
It was payback,
It
right?
was payback.
Yeah.
It was the only way that he personally could have gotten back at the aliens.
Right.
But they defeat them in dramatic fashion. I got to tell you, just this movie gets me jacked up to this day. Like, it's just such a good movie. I would say this is up there in my favorite films. It's just such a fun movie. It's really well done from a disaster flick. It's got good aliens. It's got good actors. It has a good story. If this came out today, like the original, I don't know if it would do as well. It came out, I think, in the perfect storm of time and events. Gotta say, I love it.
Yeah, and it's this movie. It's another popular movie to retroactively hate. Like you can find like YouTube review sites. I'm not going to name names. I actually caught one or two where the one crew basically said this is a great movie for like the lowest common denominator, stupid people, basically. And that's like such a dick thing to say.
It is really bad.
It's like you're allowed to like a movie that's not like great, but it's fun as all hell, and that's exactly what this movie is.
I mean, I don't get anyone that's hating on this now.
Yeah.
You're
It's
doing it because
yeah.
you think you're cool. if
Yeah,
you
it's
hate
like
it.
they tried to make themselves sound cool, like you point out all the flaws of the movie, but of course the movie has flaws, but the movie is so like well done from like a wow standpoint.
Absolutely.
That there's no like you might as well just leave it alone. Like you just look like a dick when you knock this movie.
It's because I don't know if it's like a hipster thing to just hate
Yeah.
it now. I don't know.
If alien movies aren't your thing or disaster movies aren't your thing, and that's why you don't like it, that's fine.
That's totally fine.
But to pick it apart from a technical and writer standpoint, like that's for this type of movie, that's like moot. It's like there's no reason to do that.
Maybe it was a good movie for 96.
For 96.
Oh.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, come on now.
But basically, a big you if you don't like this movie, and we're gonna end it. We're gonna end it on that.
So now, if you haven't seen Independence Day Resurgence, like I said, we saw at the top of the show. We saw it today. Turn this off right now and come back to it. We're gonna give you like another 5 seconds before we start talking about spoilers here.
Spoilers. Okay.
Hitler's dead. So now that we got that out of the way,
yeah.
What is this movie about? I mean, did they need to make a sequel? We can answer that question in a minute, but just give me a rundown. Like, what, 20 years later, what is this movie about?
All right, quick synopsis. Independence Day, Resurgence. First of all, good work.
Is that a good colon or a bad colon?
Yeah, they could have done
They
better.
are resurging.
Yeah. Actually, not. I don't hate it. 32% Metacritic, 5.8 IMDb, and that's still early.
As of Sunday on the weekend.
Yeah,
right?
I'll tell you, I kind of understand the rankings. Synopsis: as the 4th of July nears, satellite engineer David Levinson, Jeff Goldblum, investigates a 3,000-mile wide mothership. 3,000 miles wide.
I don't know how big the other one was, but this is a lot bigger.
That's like the size of like almost the whole U.S., right?
It's pretty huge.
All right. That's approaching Earth. Fortunately, 20 years earlier, nations across the world started to use recovered extraterrestrial technology to develop an immense defense program. When the alien invaders attack with unprecedented force, the U.S. president, teams of scientists, and brave fighter pilots spring into action to save the planet from a seemingly inevitable enemy.
Invincible.
Invincible.
They are damn invincible. This time around?
Pretty invincible. They're ready this time, right?
I mean, they come at you with the full force of the 3,000-mile wide spaceship.
Yeah, they're blitzing.
Let me just ask you right away.
Yeah.
Did this need to be made?
No.
Were you happy it was made?
Sure.
Did you enjoy watching it?
Sure.
Did it work?
Not really.
So tell me, going back to the score, 32% on. We're not talking about that smelly site.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Metacritic.
Metacritic.
This is like
which makes it sound more important than it is.
Prestigious.
Right? I'll tell you right now, in a nutshell, it has the same qualities as the first one, where it's fun to watch. The script isn't the greatest, but it doesn't have the same emotion as the first one. It's kind of a by-the-numbers sequel. It was very sequel-y.
Yeah.
Very sequel-y. And to have a sequel-y movie 20 years after the fact makes it very unnecessary. Having said that, it was still fun. It was still very fun. I'm glad I saw it.
Let me ask you this question. Did you fall asleep?
Once or twice in the beginning.
You did?
Yeah. Especially during the initial alien attack. I was dozing off.
You fell asleep?
We were in the recliner chairs.
Yeah. Can we talk about the theater that we went to for a
reclined.
second? So we went to this awesome theater. It's a local theater, and basically they retrofitted this theater. They took out like half the seats.
Yeah.
First off, we tried to go in the morning, and we totally underestimated the crowd.
Sold out.
Great seats. They had recliners, like literal electric recliners with big ass leather seats.
They're begging for you to fall asleep in this damn movie.
I can't blame you. I'm not going to blame you for falling asleep because it was pretty darn comfortable.
It's the same theater I saw The Revenant in.
Oh, okay. No, so that if you saw like a slower movie without blowing up
you know
stuff,
how I fell asleep during The Revenant.
I could probably see you falling asleep.
You get it.
But there's other movies that it basically took, I want to say 20 years in between. Like, are there other ones that are out there? So we looked up a list.
Well, I'll tell you what I wish was 20 years. We did this exercise. Forrest Gump is the one, right?
Yeah, and I want to see Haley Joel Osment.
See, Independence Day, like, I never thought that it would be possible to make a sequel. Like, why? We defeated the aliens. It's over. Dr. Oaken's dead. Let's get on with our lives, right? So it's the same. It's almost as ridiculous to me as if they made a Forrest Gump sequel.
You know who's just ripe for this part?
Huh.
We called our friends at Netflix. Last week
You're right.
we said, they need to make a movie that's 20 years later. Something that is, really the public loved. It's a very well received, critically acclaimed movie.
Yep.
Call up Haley Joel Osment.
He'll do it.
He had some practice.
Who we have to talk into it is Tom Hanks. But Haley Joel Osment will do it.
Tom Hanks is too busy doing Angels and Demons.
Tell
all
him
these...
Spielberg's in. Lie to him. Tell him Spielberg's in.
It's Steve Spielberg.
Yeah.
Not Steven Spielberg. Yeah. Steve Spielberg.
His brother Stan Spielberg.
Stan Spielberg has agreed to direct.
Or the Simpsons joke, Senior Spielbergo.
What was do you remember what Forrest Gump Jr., right? That's what it was.
Yeah, it was Young Forrest.
Give me a grown-up Haley Joel Osment.
Maybe he went on some adventures with his dad.
Tiny face, big head. He went on his adventures. Maybe it's his memoir.
There's a sequel book, right? There's a sequel.
I don't know. I didn't know about it.
There is a book.
I would give Netflix personal money. Start a Kickstarter, somebody.
I'll contribute to the Kickstarter.
What are some other movies?
We have real ones.
I looked up Indiana Jones. It was 20 years in between.
Yeah, this is very, very much similar to this. Did you need another Indiana? I'm not the biggest Indiana Jones fan in the world.
See, here's where I think this one benefits. The technology of movies has been better, and the special effects and just the general kind of filmmaking has improved. I thought the way that this was shot was very good, and I like the way they showed the alien technology. So that's what it had up on Indiana Jones. And like I said, Goldblum aged gracefully. Harrison Ford looks old as hell.
Oh, yeah.
So him as Indiana Jones just looked kind of it was sad. You know?
How would you compare it to another one I thought of was Tron?
Tron, again, the technology has improved so much.
I mean, this is such a while, 80, what was it, 82?
Tron was old as hell.
So it's that just predates everything.
But the visuals in the new Tron and the story kind of worked to me. And I know it was a lot longer.
Yeah.
But the way that it was shot looked awesome. And it was a really good visual movie.
I'm not saying it's possible Tron 2 is better than Tron 1. It's just funny how you make a sequel that much further down the line. It's the odds of it being good are so astronomical.
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber's another one. I saw Dumb and Dumber this past year. Dumb and Dumber 2. That's 20 years after. Completely unnecessary. I know comedy sequels are hard, but it just put a damper on it. I just give me the one from 94. Good enough.
I pulled a couple reviews here, and I just want to tell you what the critics are saying about this, and you tell me if you agree or not. I'm just going to read a couple of these. I'm not going to read them all. The first one I thought was actually pretty damn critical. It's this guy, David Sims from The Atlantic. He said, Independence Day Resurgence is a non-movie, an insult to the blockbuster genre, and should only stand as a perfect example of Hollywood's more glaring deficiencies as an industry.
That's too harsh.
That's a little harsh.
That's a little too harsh. It's not a non-movie. It is a movie. The plot's very dumb, and we'll get into why a little bit later, but it's still a good time. You don't have to be a joyless person out there.
There's another one from the New York Times. The lackluster, at times abysmal writing wouldn't matter much if Resurgence featured a charismatic star who could lift a movie as effortlessly as Will Smith did in the first feature.
That's kind of true.
I kind of agree with that.
See, that character is supposed to be Liam Hemsworth in this one. Liam Hemsworth isn't that great of an actor.
Right.
Or at least not as good as Will Smith by far. And I feel like it was lacking that. The comedy was there with Oaken and Goldblum's dad, but everything else was kind of who did a good job actually in all seriousness at acting was Pullman.
Yeah, he was great.
Pullman as Old Man Whitmore did a great job, but he was supposed to be a bit character in this movie, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have a starring role.
I mean, there's the first topic I think that we put as we kind of go through some of these random topics is I thought they connected the dots pretty well in the movie.
Yeah.
20 years later, you're talking 20 years later, I thought they connected the dots well. The way that they incorporated some of the older characters.
Yeah.
The way that they got them to agree. I mean, they off the bat, basically, Hiller's dead. They say that he died in a test flight or something.
Of an alien spacecraft.
His pictures in the White House.
Yeah.
Who I didn't think fit was the guy who played his son, Dylan.
Yeah.
It felt kind of forced, we need to have a presence of Will Smith in it. It wasn't the actor. I think it was kind of the character. It's are we supposed to believe that this guy is as good as he is, or is he only kind of built up because he's the hero because his dad was the hero?
Well, if they
a figurehead.
If they would have developed him as struggling in his role, and maybe he's trying to live up to expectations, that could have been a characteristic of him. But he comes off very bland in this movie.
I just felt
you're right. It's forced. It's a forced connection to Will Smith.
And if there's any complaint, I would say that there was probably too many characters. It just kind of was all over the place.
Yeah.
Whereas in the first one I mentioned, you had the Goldblum thread and then you had the Hiller thread, and they kind of converged in the end.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on here. I thought they did a pretty good job of juggling it, but it was tough to follow at times.
I liked all the callbacks to the original, but it is scatterbrained. And you talk about Hiller's son or his stepson or whatever, right? And also in this movie is Whitmore's daughter, who was in the first movie as well, who is now grown and now is now part of the presidential office.
She's fiancée to Hemsworth.
Yeah. So that was odd to me because the obvious connection there is because they met each other. Will Smith's stepson and Whitmore's daughter, they met each other when they were rescued.
Right.
So they have like a brother-sister relationship, right? In this movie. I thought they could have been the love story, and Hemsworth could have just been a wild card on the side.
They wanted to introduce the wild card, but they also wanted to introduce Hemsworth and him as this. They had conflict.
But I didn't care that he was fiancéed to Whitmore's daughter. Like, I didn't care about that.
But that wasn't the conflict. The conflict was that he almost killed him. That was kind of unnecessary too, right? Like just the fact that he almost killed me during a test flight, their first flight.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I thought.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
The other thing that I really liked was I really loved Dr. Oaken.
Oh yeah,
I liked him in the first one, and he was kind of a big character. In this one, he had a much bigger role.
They jacked him up to 11 on this one.
Comedy
for sure.
relief.
Yeah.
You know, you had you didn't have certain people. So you didn't have Will Smith. So you got to jack it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And Oaken carried the movie. I thought he was really funny, and he was just really good. Brent Spiner did a great job.
Yeah. Yeah, that character. There's obviously more to be done with that character. They tease a sequel, which probably will exist if this does well. And I imagine him having just as big a role in the future.
I mean, the end clearly they set it up for a sequel when they said, "Oh, we gotta go take the fight to them."
Yeah.
What did you love anything? Did you hate anything specifically about it? I know we're kind of scatterbrained on this, but I didn't necessarily
just like the movie itself, right? It's hard to talk about this movie, honestly, especially having just seen it because it's hard to digest. There's a lot going on, and it's not the best written movie, so. The sphere thing, which is the glaring thing, was so cheesy. The whole race, the VR race where we're going to teach you how to build machines to stop these bad aliens.
Yeah.
And it's personified in this literal 10-foot tall and wide circumference sphere that speaks in a woman's voice, and it's just very cheesy and very groan-worthy,
What's
right?
the machine from a Portal? Was it GLaDOS?
Gladys, yeah.
Gladys. It was kind of like that. It was weird. I didn't mind that. I thought it was kind of cool.
I hated it.
Yeah, I know you didn't like it, but
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool because it was the alien shows up, right? So the sphere shows up. It's in a bigger sphere, and basically you find out again, trigger happy people.
Yeah.
There's an alien. We got to get a first attack. It was the guy who kind of looked like the other Secretary of Defense. We better shoot it down right now. Shoot a nuke at it. I kind of liked the fact that they introduced a new alien, and it was kind of neat because, see, I'm a fan of, and people hate Prometheus, right? I actually enjoyed it.
I liked it too.
I like the world building of it. I'm interested to see what the planet looks like wherever they go, to the engineers or whatever it is. I'm actually interested to see whatever planet they go to next. If they make another one of this, I thought it was kind of cool. The aspect that they had this technology, this thing was the only thing left to kill the aliens. There's tons of other aliens burrowing into other planets to steal the core. I liked that aspect of it. Yeah. I know it didn't do it for you, but I thought it was cool.
I liked the small thing they did with the sea crew that was supposed to quote unquote monitor the drilling.
Oh, the guys that wanted $100 million.
Yeah, and they were like, deal. I wish they would have spent more time with them, or at least had a scene where they actually had to do something and it was dangerous. They were never in danger.
And maybe they had to sail the ship in the hole.
Yeah, they were right next to that damn thing, and they're no, I would have liked to see a scene with them, but the movie's long enough as it is. But I don't know, the sphere really that mostly soured the movie for me, and the fact that at the end where it was oh, your species is fantastic, it's such a Saturday morning cartoon end of the show type of thing to say,
They should have had a PSA about smoking, So,
but you got me worried though. You're talking about the sequel, the third one, being on a planet, and it got me thinking the third one could very well be a space movie.
See, I didn't want to bring it up.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna, you brought it up.
This is not a space movie, but the third one might be, and I might have to be out for that one. I don't know.
See, there was a lot of space in this movie, Badway.
That's not a space movie. This is an American movie.
So you call it an American movie because why? Because they spent most of their time on Earth?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'd like to see more of? Talk about space movie.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more combat on the ship.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome when they went into the ship.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
Oh, they have their own atmosphere. They've got their own farming, and they had these machines farming crops and stuff.
Yeah, there was a couple minutes where they were hiding from the exoskeleton aliens, and that was a really cool setup there. But they completely abandoned it within 5 minutes.
I like the way they were like hiding. They were going under the
Yeah.
grass. They were swimming in that lake or the water. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and the African military man
That dude was awesome.
who badassedly stabbed an alien in the back, and he's like, "You got to get him from behind."
Did you see John Oliver's twin, by the way? The guy
Yeah,
who looked,
I thought like maybe it's him.
he literally
Yeah.
looked like John Oliver.
And there was a good buddy thing between those two, but
Yeah.
I would have loved to see that guy do more hand-to-hand combat with the aliens. They
Talk
never did
about
it.
making another movie. They talked about in the beginning of this when they said the aliens had a ground war in Central Africa, and that's where this guy's brother died, and he wanted to pay the aliens back. Again, we said there was a lot going on in this. I'd love to see either a spinoff or something about that ground war with that guy. It was like an African warlord, basically.
Yeah.
That guy was awesome. He had the katanas with the two blades, like kind of like Michonne from The Walking Dead. It was pretty awesome. He's just like walking around stabbing these things. I'd love to see a movie with that guy in
I
it.
guess it's too heavy, budget heavy to do something like that. Like I always thought that it would be cool to see like the ground war of the War of the Robots or Terminator.
Yeah.
And they just won't give it to you because it's probably way too much money to get all those freaking robots, build all those cyborgs, and these days you could use a lot of CG though, but who knows?
Yeah, I just
It still seems like a lot of money, a lot of man hours.
I'd pay to watch that. If they want to have 100 Arnold Schwarzeneggers running around on the screen at once, I'll pay to watch that.
Yeah, look, I'll pay $20 for the ticket instead of 10 if that means that they can make the movie. If a bunch of people agree to pay 20.
One other character and aspect that I liked was we talked about it at the top of the show. William Finkner,
Yeah,
Mahoney,
Mahoney again. That guy from
becomes
that
the
thing.
president.
The guy from Prison Break.
That guy from that thing. If you know who I'm talking about, let us know.
Yeah,
You know, he winds up getting sworn in as the president.
yeah, I like that.
I was wondering if they were going to go villain angle there, where he's like he couldn't wait to be sworn in
Yeah,
because they swear him in, and he actually is a pretty good dude.
you son of, imagine if that was a Secretary of Defense's
Yeah.
brother.
That guy couldn't wait.
Yeah.
He couldn't wait for that to happen.
No, he did an admirable job. See, the president, which was Madam President, this one, I forget.
I thought
who
she
it
was pretty good, too. I liked her.
I don't think she was that popular of an actress. I couldn't remember who she
I
was.
thought she did a pretty good job.
Yeah, she did a good job, but like her and Fichtner, whatever however you say it, like
Billy.
they were kind of vanilla. Like they didn't have much to do, but they both did a good job. The acting was pretty good for the most part. Goldblum kind of mailed it in a little bit. He collected paychecks.
Definitely mailed it in.
He collected paychecks, but everyone else seemed pretty gung ho about it.
I mean, you got Goldblum driving a school bus
Yeah.
in the salt flats. I mean, that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
His dad was funny. The way that his dad became basically like the foster father to all these children because he doesn't have a good relationship with his own son. I mean, overall, I actually really liked the movie. I thought it was good, and I recommend that if you like the first one, you should go out and watch this.
Yeah. That's the thing. I definitely am glad I saw it, but next 4th of July, when this is out on
You're
the
not
day
gonna
of
watch this
DVD,
one.
I'm still watching the old one. And I'm probably this might be the last time I've seen this movie. basically.
I probably would watch it again. I definitely enjoyed it. I recommend that if you enjoyed the first one, like Badway said, definitely go watch it. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't, but it's definitely worth a watch if you're deciding should I go see it. Definitely go see it.
For sure.
So I think that about wraps it up for us. If you guys saw it already and you want to write in, let us know what you thought of the movie. Did you like it? Did you hate it? You know, like I said, I recommend it. Badway recommends you watch it. Let us know what you thought. The Last Row Podcast at gmail.com, on Twitter at The Last Row Pod, Facebook.com/The Last Row Pod, any kind of pods, Last Rows, whatever. Do a Google search, like I said
Alien
before.
pods.
Alien pods.
Podrick from
Pod
Game of
people,
Thrones.
Pod from Game of Thrones. Write us in, though. Let us know what you think. And if you haven't done so and you really are enjoying the show, you're a new listener, head out to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. We much appreciate you doing that. A lot of people have done so. Thank you, everybody that's gone out and left us a review. Don't forget to subscribe on Google Play Music if you're an Android user. We're out on a lot of different websites. Check us out, and we'll see you guys next week.
So, how do the aliens reproduce? Do they use the suits?
It's like, think about Coneheads, where they have a thing that they put on their head. Is there some type of device or a circle that they put on their like suit? Maybe that's why they do the humans. Maybe they need some type of carrier.
Yeah.
Maybe Randy Quaid is like a surrogate father. A lot of the.
They just couldn't handle it.
Maybe what if you could trace their DNA lineage back to Randy Quaid?
Back to Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid.
He's a rogue alien. He's not really a human.
He's the father of all aliens.
And he kind of doesn't know it.